Benjamin Carter wiped sweat from his brow as he made his way through the narrow stone passage beneath the Vatican. The air was stale and smelled of ancient paper and dust. At 24 years old, Benjamin was one of the youngest members of the Swiss Guard, and he often got stuck with the jobs nobody else wanted. Today, that meant checking the integrity of document seals in the restricted archives. His flashlight cast long shadows on the stone walls as he moved deeper into the archive section. The lighting system in this area was unreliable. It dated back to the early 1900s, so all guards carried powerful flashlights when patrolling the lower levels. Benjamin checked his map and frowned. According to the blueprints, he should be facing a solid wall, but instead he found himself looking at a narrow corridor that stretched into darkness. He double-checked his position and realized he had made a wrong turn 3 junctions back. Or perhaps the map was wrong. Great, he muttered to himself. 2 years of service and he was still getting lost. His commander would never let him hear the end of it. He was about to turn back when he noticed something unusual about the air coming from the unmapped passage. It wasn't stale like the rest of the archives. There was a faint current, suggesting another entrance or exit. Security protocols dictated that he should report the discrepancy immediately, but curiosity got the better of him. He decided to explore for just a minute before calling it in. The passage narrowed as he walked, the ceiling dropping so low that he had to duck his head. The walls changed too, from the regular stone blocks of the archive to older, rougher masonry that looked medieval. After 50 meters, the passage opened into a small chamber. Benjamin's flashlight revealed a stone room about 15 feet square, with a vaulted ceiling. The chamber was empty except for a single wooden chest in the center. The chest looked ancient, its wood dark with age, iron bands rusted but still intact. Benjamin approached cautiously. The chest bore the papal seal of Sixtus IV, who had reigned in the late 1400s. This alone made the find significant. Items from that period were supposed to be in the main historical collection, not hidden in an unmapped room. He knelt beside the chest, inspecting it carefully. There was no lock, just a simple iron latch. Benjamin hesitated, knowing that touching artifacts without proper authorization violated at least 3 Vatican protocols. But something about this discovery felt important. He lifted the latch and slowly opened the lid. Inside were documents, dozens of parchments and bound manuscripts. Benjamin gently lifted the top document. It appeared to be written in Latin, but as he examined it more closely, he realized it contained symbols and characters he had never seen before. Interspersed with normal Latin text were strange angular markings that resembled no human alphabet Benjamin knew. The date at the top of the document read, Anno Domini, 1473. During the papacy of Sixtus IV, Benjamin carefully placed the document back in the chest and took out his phone to photograph the contents. After taking several pictures, he closed the chest and made his way back to the main archive corridor. His mind raced as he tried to make sense of what he had found. Secret documents hidden in an unmapped chamber beneath the Vatican was the stuff of conspiracy theories and thriller novels, not something Benjamin expected to encounter during a routine patrol. By the time he reached the guard station, he had decided to report his discovery through proper channels. He approached his superior, Captain Frank Morrison, a 20-year veteran of the Swiss Guard. "Sir, I need to report something unusual I found during patrol," Benjamin said, standing at attention. Morrison looked up from his desk with an expression of mild annoyance. "What is it, Carter?" "I discovered an unmapped passage in Section D7 of the archives. It led to a hidden chamber containing a chest with documents from the 1470s bearing the seal of Pope Sixtus IV. Morrison's expression changed from annoyed to alarmed. "Did you touch anything?" I opened the chest to see what was inside," Benjamin admitted. "The documents appear to be in Latin but contain unusual symbols I couldn't identify." Morrison stood abruptly. "Show me these photos." Benjamin handed over his phone. Morrison studied the images, his face growing paler with each swipe. "Wait here," he ordered, and disappeared into the communication room. Benjamin stood uncertainly in the guard station, wondering if he had made a terrible mistake. 10 minutes later, Morrison returned with a grim expression. "The archive section is now locked down. No one enters without direct permission from the Cardinal Secretary of State. He fixed Benjamin with a stern look. Did you tell anyone else about this? No, sir. I came straight to you. Good. Keep it that way. Morrison handed back the phone. Delete those photos now. Benjamin complied, erasing the images while Morrison watched. Sir, what's going on? What did I find? Morrison shook his head. That's not for either of us to know, Carter. Before Benjamin could press further, the station phone rang. Morrison answered it, his posture stiffening as he listened. Yes, Your Holiness. Right away, Your Holiness. He hung up and stared at Benjamin, with an expression of disbelief. You are to report to the papal apartments immediately. Benjamin felt his stomach drop. The Pope wants to see me? Pope Leo? Yes. Pope Leo XIV himself. Morrison looked as shocked as Benjamin felt. This is unprecedented. No junior guard has had a private audience with the Holy Father in, well, possibly ever. What should I tell him? The truth, obviously. Hold nothing back. Morrison straightened Benjamin's uniform collar. And Carter? Whatever happens in there, whatever you learn, remember your oath to the Holy See. 20 minutes later, Benjamin stood outside the private study of Pope Leo XIV, the most recently elected leader of the Catholic Church. Joseph Miller from Detroit, United States, had been a surprise choice for the papacy, relatively young at 62, and considered a moderate who might bridge the growing divisions within the church. A secretary opened the door and nodded for Benjamin to enter. The Pope sat behind a desk of dark wood dressed in the traditional white papal garments. He looked up as Benjamin entered and smiled warmly. Ah, Mr. Carter, please come in. Benjamin walked forward on legs that felt like jelly and knelt as protocol required. The Pope rose and came around the desk. Please stand and the others may leave us. To Benjamin's surprise, the Pope dismissed the attendants and even the Swiss Guard officers stationed inside the room. When the door closed, they were alone. Pope Leo studied Benjamin with keen blue eyes. So you're the young man who found the Sixtus documents. Yes, Your Holiness. The Pope gestured to a chair. Sit down, Benjamin. What I'm about to tell you was not meant to be revealed for another decade, but perhaps God has decided the time is now. Benjamin sat nervously in the Pope's private study. The room was simpler than he had expected, with wooden bookshelves lining the walls and a plain crucifix hanging behind the desk. Pope Leo XIV looked at him with clear blue eyes that seemed to hold both kindness and worry. What I am about to tell you will change how you see the world, Benjamin, the Pope said. He walked to a small safe hidden behind a painting of St. Peter and entered a combination. From it, he removed a small, silver key. The documents you found were hidden for a reason. They record an event that happened in 1473, during the time of Pope Sixtus IV. Pope Leo turned the key over in his hands. It was the first contact between the Vatican and visitors from beyond our world. Benjamin blinked, certain he had misheard. Beyond our world, I don't understand, Your Holiness. Beings not of earth, Benjamin. What some would call aliens, though I prefer the term messengers. They came not as invaders, but as observers, searching for what they called the divine spark. Intelligent, life capable of faith beyond evidence. Benjamin struggled to process what he was hearing. The Pope, the leader of the Catholic Church, was telling him that aliens had visited Earth centuries ago, and the Vatican had kept it secret. Why would they come to the Vatican? Benjamin asked, finding his voice. They detected our faith. Not just Catholicism, but the human capacity for belief itself. They found it fascinating because it is rare in the universe. The Pope walked to the window and looked out at St. Peter's Square. Most intelligent species develop reason and logic, but few develop faith. They wanted to understand it. And these messengers, they're still around? Pope Leo turned back to face him. Yes, they have been watching us ever since, occasionally making contact with select individuals when they deem it necessary. Like you? Benjamin asked. The Pope nodded. The conclave didn't truly elect me, Benjamin. I was chosen long before by beings who see time differently than we do. They knew I would be needed at this moment in history. Benjamin felt dizzy. He gripped the arms of his chair to steady himself. Why are you telling me this? Because you were meant to find those documents. The messengers showed me this moment years ago. The Pope returned to his desk. And because we need your help. Forces within the Vatican itself oppose what I am about to do. What are you going to do? Tell the world the truth, that we are not alone, that we never have been. The Pope's voice was steady. For centuries, the messengers have guided us subtly, helping us avoid self-destruction. But now they believe humanity is ready for open contact. A sudden noise outside the room made both men turn. Raised voices could be heard through the thick wooden door. Sooner than I expected, the Pope murmured. He opened a drawer and pulled out a small metal cylinder about the size of a pen. Take this. If I am prevented from delivering my message, you must bring it to Alice Sullivan at the New York Times. She will know what to do with it. Benjamin took the cylinder. What is it? Proof. And instructions. The Pope's expression was grim. Not everyone welcomes our celestial friends. Cardinal Richard Winters leads a faction that believes humanity should reject their guidance. They fear what open contact might mean for the Church's authority. The voices outside grew louder, and Benjamin could make out the words security breach and protect the Holy Father. Pope Leo walked to a bookshelf and pressed a hidden panel. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a narrow passage. This leads to the old service tunnels. Go now. I will handle Cardinal Winters. But my duty is to protect you. Benjamin protested. And you will, by ensuring the truth reaches the world. The Pope placed a hand on Benjamin's shoulder. God chose you for this task, Benjamin Carter, just as the messengers chose me. Benjamin reluctantly entered the passage and the wall closed behind him. He found himself in a dimly lit tunnel that smelled of damp stone. He activated his flashlight and began moving forward, the metal cylinder secure in his pocket. Meanwhile, the door to the Pope's study burst open. Cardinal Richard Winters entered, followed by 4 men in suits who were not part of the Swiss Guard. The cardinal was tall and thin with silver hair and cold gray eyes. Your Holiness, Winters said with a slight bow that held little respect. We have a security situation. The young guard who reported finding restricted documents has gone missing. He was just here, Pope Leo said calmly. I dismissed him moments ago. Winters studied the Pope's face. What did you tell him? The truth. Richard, it's time the world knew. The cardinal's face hardened. You have exceeded your authority. The celestial protocol is clear. No disclosure until the appointed time. The appointed time is now, Pope Leo countered. They have shown me what comes next. Your visions are not the consensus of the College of Cardinals, Winters snapped. We have protected this secret for centuries to avoid global panic. If people learn that we are not alone, that we have been guided, it could destroy faith rather than strengthen it. The Pope walked back to his desk, his movements unhurried. You don't fear loss of faith, Richard. You fear loss of control. In the tunnel, Benjamin moved quickly, guided by his knowledge of the Vatican's layout. He recognized that he was in a maintenance passage that ran beneath the Apostolic Palace. If he followed it east, he should reach an exit near the Vatican Gardens. As he moved, his mind raced, trying to make sense of everything. He had just learned aliens, or messengers as the Pope called them, had been watching humanity for centuries. They had somehow chosen Pope Leo XIV as their representative. And now, a faction within the Vatican led by Cardinal Winters wanted to stop the Pope from revealing this truth to the world. The cylinder in Benjamin's pocket felt heavier than its actual weight. Whatever it contained, people were willing to fight over it. People with power and resources. The tunnel forked, and Benjamin paused. He didn't remember this junction from any of the maps he had studied during his training. He chose the right path, which seemed to slope slightly upward. After several minutes, he came to a metal ladder leading to a hatch. He climbed up and pushed against the hatch, which opened with a groan of rusty hinges. Benjamin emerged into a small shed in a quiet corner of the Vatican gardens. Stepping outside, he quickly oriented himself. It was late afternoon, and the gardens were mostly empty. In the distance, he could hear the usual sounds of tourists visiting St. Peter's Basilica. Benjamin activated his radio. "This is Guard Carter. Does anyone copy?" Static was his only answer. Either his radio was being jammed, or the comm system was down throughout Vatican City. A security alarm suddenly blared across the complex. Benjamin ducked back into the shed as a group of security personnel ran past. From their conversation, he gathered that the alert level had been raised to maximum, something that rarely happened except during direct threats to the Pope. Benjamin knew he needed to get out of Vatican City with the cylinder and find Alice Sullivan of the New York Times. But he also couldn't abandon his duty to protect the Pope. If Cardinal Winters truly meant to silence Pope Leo, then Benjamin might be the only Swiss guard loyal to the Holy Father who knew what was happening. He looked down at his uniform. It marked him as a member of the Swiss Guard, which would make him easy to spot. But it also gave him authority within the Vatican walls. He decided to use that authority while he still had it. Taking a deep breath, Benjamin stepped out of the shed and headed toward the Apostolic Palace. He would find the Pope first. Then together they would decide what to do about the messengers from beyond the stars. Benjamin moved carefully through the Vatican gardens, keeping to the shadows of tall hedges and ancient trees. The security alarm continued to blare across Vatican City. Guards and security personnel rushed in all directions, their faces tense. He needed information. Using his Swiss Guard training, Benjamin approached a group of guards near the entrance to the Apostolic Palace. "What's the situation?" he asked, trying to sound calm and official. A guard named Peter, whom Benjamin knew from training exercises, looked relieved to see him. "Carter, where have you been? There's an alert for your detainment." Benjamin kept his expression neutral. "My detainment? Why?" "Orders from Cardinal Winters. He says you stole classified documents and may have compromised the Holy Father's safety." Peter lowered his voice. "Is it true?" "No," Benjamin said firmly. "I was just with the Pope. He's the one who might be in danger." Peter looked confused. "From who?" "I need to know where the Pope is now," Benjamin said, ignoring the question. "Last report said he was being escorted to the secure bunker beneath the north wing for his protection," Peter replied. "Carter, what's going on?" Benjamin had to make a quick decision about how much to share. "The Pope gave me a message to deliver. It's important for the whole world. Cardinal Winters wants to stop it from getting out." Peter studied Benjamin's face, clearly unsure who to believe. After a moment, he nodded slightly. "The north wing has been locked down. Only those with alpha clearance can get in. I can't help you there." "Thanks," Benjamin said. "You never saw me." "Never saw." Peter nodded again and turned away. Benjamin knew the North Wing bunker well. All Swiss guards memorized the layout of secure areas within Vatican City. The bunker had been built during the Cold War as a shelter for the Pope in case of nuclear attack. It had its own air supply, food storage, and multiple exit routes. It also had only one main entrance, which would now be heavily guarded by men loyal to Cardinal Winters. Benjamin needed another way in. He remembered the maintenance tunnels that connected various parts of the Vatican. If the maps in his training were correct, one of those tunnels passed near the bunker's emergency exit. He made his way to a service building near the Vatican radio station. Using his guard credentials, he entered the building and found the access point to the tunnel system in the basement. The maintenance tunnels were narrow and poorly lit. Pipes ran along the ceiling, carrying water and electricity to different parts of the complex. Benjamin counted the junctions as he moved, making sure he stayed on the path toward the north wing. After 15 minutes of careful navigation, he reached a heavy metal door that should lead to a storage room near the bunker's emergency exit. He tried the handle, locked. Benjamin examined the lock. It was old and simple. Using a small tool from his pocket, he managed to pick it open after several tense minutes. The room beyond was filled with cleaning supplies and old furniture. A single bare bulb provided dim light. Benjamin crossed to the opposite door and listened. No sounds came from beyond. He opened it slowly and found himself in a narrow corridor that led to the emergency exit of the bunker. 2 guards stood outside the thick metal door, their backs to Benjamin. They wore the dark suits of Vatican security, not the colorful uniforms of the Swiss Guard. Benjamin needed a distraction. He took a broom from the storage room and broke its handle against the wall, creating a loud crack. Then he retreated into the shadows. The guards turned at the noise. One of them came to investigate while the other remained at his post. When the first guard entered the storage room, Benjamin quickly subdued him with a precise strike to the neck, a technique taught to all Swiss guards for emergencies. He took the guard's radio and security card, then used the broom handle to create another noise further down the corridor. The second guard called out to his partner, received no response, and reluctantly left his post to check. Benjamin repeated his tactic, leaving both guards unconscious but alive. He dragged them into the storage room and used their own handcuffs to secure them. Using the security card, Benjamin approached the emergency door to the bunker. The card worked and the heavy door unlocked with a metallic thunk. Inside, Benjamin found a short hallway leading to the main bunker area. He could hear voices ahead, one of them unmistakably the Pope's calm tone, the other Cardinal Winter's sharper speech. The celestial protocol was established for a reason, Winters was saying. Gradual disclosure over decades, not a sudden announcement that would throw the world into chaos. The messengers believe humanity is ready now, Pope Leo replied. They have shown me what comes next, Richard. A unified Earth joining a community of worlds. It is a beautiful vision. A vision only you have seen, Winters countered. What of the other contactees? The Council of 12 has not approved this acceleration of the timeline. Benjamin moved closer, careful to stay out of sight. He could now see into the main room of the bunker. Pope Leo sat in a chair at the center, looking calm despite the situation. Cardinal Winters stood over him, flanked by 4 men in suits. 2 more guards stood by the main entrance. The Council of 12 serves the messengers, not the other way around, Pope Leo said. And the messengers have chosen this moment for full disclosure. Winters shook his head. You are only one voice, Joseph. I represent the majority who believe this is too soon. Then let me speak to the Council directly, the Pope suggested. Impossible. They are scattered across the globe for security reasons, as you well know. Winters paced the room. Where is the device the messengers gave you? The one containing the full disclosure package? Safe, the Pope answered simply. Winters stopped, pacing. You gave it to that guard, didn't you? To Benjamin Carter. The Pope smiled slightly but said nothing. It doesn't matter, Winters continued. Every exit from Vatican City is watched. He won't get far. And without you to verify his story, no one will believe him. Benjamin's hand went to the cylinder in his pocket. Whatever it contained, it was clearly important enough for Cardinal Winters to essentially hold the Pope prisoner. He had to get it to Alice Sullivan, as the Pope had instructed. But he couldn't leave Pope Leo in danger. Benjamin's oath as a Swiss guard was to protect the Holy Father even at the cost of his own life. He needed a plan. The cylinder had to reach the outside world, but the Pope needed protection. Perhaps he could do both. Benjamin retreated quietly back to the storage room where he had left the unconscious guards. He searched their pockets and found a cell phone. No signal this far underground, but it might work closer to the surface. He also found a small digital camera. An idea formed in his mind. He could use the camera to record the Pope's explanation, providing evidence of what was happening. Then he could try to get both the cylinder and the recording to Alice Sullivan. Benjamin took a deep breath. He was just a junior Swiss guard, not a spy or a hero from an action movie. But circumstances had placed him at the center of what might be the most important revelation in human history. He checked the guard's restraints one last time, then headed back, toward the emergency exit. It was time to rescue the Pope and deliver his message to the world. Benjamin stood in the storage room thinking quickly. He needed to create a bigger distraction this time. Looking around, he spotted a fire alarm on the wall. It was an older model, not connected to the main security system. If he triggered it, it would create confusion without immediately revealing his location. He pulled the alarm. A loud bell rang throughout the area. Through the partially open door, he could see the guards in the bunker looking around in confusion. "Check it out," Cardinal Winters ordered two of his men. "And you two stay with the Pope." Benjamin waited until the two guards entered the hallway, then moved quietly behind them. When they passed the storage room, he shoved a mop handle between their legs, causing both men to trip. As they fell, Benjamin quickly subdued them with swift strikes to pressure points just as he'd been trained. Now only two guards remained with Cardinal Winters and the Pope. Benjamin needed a way to even the odds further. He noticed the fire suppression system on the ceiling of the hallway. The bunker was old, built during the Cold War. It likely used a chemical fire suppression system that would release gas and reduce oxygen in the area. Not enough to cause serious harm, but enough to create confusion. Benjamin found the control panel for the system near the emergency exit. He broke the glass cover and pressed the button. Warning lights flashed and a recorded voice announced in Italian, "Fire suppression system activated. You have 30 seconds to evacuate." Inside the bunker, Cardinal Winters looked up in alarm. "What is happening? Is there really a fire?" The remaining guards looked nervous. One stepped toward the door. "Sir, we should evacuate." "No one leaves," Winters ordered. "This is some kind of trick." The Pope remained calm in his chair. "The system will release halon gas, Richard. It displaces oxygen. We should all leave." Winters hesitated, clearly torn between maintaining control and ensuring safety. Benjamin used those precious seconds to prepare. He took a fire extinguisher from the wall and waited by the door. When the suppression system activated, white gas began flooding the bunker. As expected, the door opened and people began to exit, coughing and covering their mouths. The two guards came out first. Benjamin used the fire extinguisher to spray them with cold foam, temporarily blinding them. He pushed past them into the gas-filled room. Inside, he found Cardinal Winters dragging Pope Leo toward a separate exit. Benjamin rushed forward and placed himself between them. "Enough, Cardinal," Benjamin said firmly. "Let the Holy Father go." Winters narrowed his eyes. "Carter, I should have known." He released the Pope and reached inside his jacket. Benjamin didn't wait to see what Winters was reaching for. He sprayed the Cardinal with the fire extinguisher, covering him with foam. Winters stumbled backward, temporarily blinded. "This way, Your Holiness," Benjamin said, taking the Pope's arm. Pope Leo nodded and followed Benjamin toward the emergency exit. "You've done well, Benjamin, but we're not safe yet." They moved quickly through the storage room and into the maintenance tunnels. Behind them, they could hear Winters shouting for his men. The alarm was still ringing, adding to the confusion. "We need to get you out of Vatican City," Benjamin said as they hurried through the dim tunnel. "No," the Pope replied. "We need to reach my private communications room. From there I can broadcast to the world directly. Sir, with respect, Cardinal Winters controls Vatican security now. That room will be watched." Pope Leo smiled slightly. "There is another communications room, one that even the Cardinal doesn't know about. The messengers helped install it years ago in preparation for this day." Benjamin was surprised but didn't question it. "Lead the way, Your Holiness." They navigated through the maze of tunnels. The Pope, despite his age, moved with surprising energy and purpose. After several minutes, they reached a section of wall that looked like all the others. Pope Leo pressed his hand against a specific brick. A small panel slid open, revealing a modern scanner. He placed his palm on it, and a hidden door opened in the wall. Benjamin followed the Pope into a small, clean room filled with technology that looked far more advanced than anything he had seen before. The walls glowed with a faint blue light, and there were no visible seams or connections in the equipment. The messengers provided this, Pope Leo explained, a direct link to their communications network which can also connect to Earth's broadcast systems. "Why did they give this to you?" Benjamin asked. "Because they knew this moment would come. They have been preparing humanity for centuries, Benjamin, guiding us, helping us avoid destroying ourselves." The Pope approached a smooth control panel. Now they believe we are ready for the next step. Not as children to be protected, but as equals to join them. But Cardinal Winters and his council of 12 disagree? Pope Leo nodded. They fear change. They believe humanity should develop on its own path, even if that path leads to destruction. And they fear losing their power and influence. "What's in the cylinder you gave me?" Benjamin asked, touching his pocket where the device remained. Secure. Proof. Records of the messenger's interactions with humanity throughout history, scientific data about their civilization, and a message from them to all of Earth. The Pope turned to face Benjamin. "But the cylinder is only part of it. I need to introduce their message personally." Benjamin thought about this. "If you broadcast from here, won't Cardinal Winters try to block the signal or claim it's fake?" "He might try, but the messenger's technology cannot be blocked by Earth means." Pope Leo looked troubled. "The greater danger is that Winters might claim I've been compromised or am acting against the Church's interests. That's why I need you to get the cylinder to Alice Sullivan." "I'm not leaving you, Your Holiness. You must. The cylinder contains a second broadcast code. If something happens to me, Alice can use it to release the message." The Pope placed a hand on Benjamin's shoulder. "This is bigger than either of us, my son. It's about humanity's future." Benjamin felt torn between his duty to protect the Pope and the importance of the mission. "How will I get out of Vatican City? Every exit will be watched." Pope Leo smiled. "The messengers thought of that too." He pressed another panel, revealing a small corridor. "This leads to a maintenance tunnel that exits outside the Vatican walls near the Tiber River. It was built centuries ago and is not on any modern maps." Benjamin took a deep breath. "When will you make the broadcast?" "In 1 hour. That should give you enough time to reach Alice Sullivan." The Pope held out a small device. "This will help you find her. It's keyed to her DNA signature." Benjamin stared at the device. It looked like nothing made on Earth. "Your Holiness, I have so many questions." "And soon you'll have answers," Pope Leo replied. "We all will. Now go, Benjamin. The future of humanity depends on it." Benjamin nodded. He knelt briefly before the Pope, who blessed him. Then, with a final look at the man chosen by beings from another world, Benjamin entered the hidden corridor, the weight of his mission heavy on his shoulders. Benjamin emerged from the hidden tunnel into the evening air near the Tiber River. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. He could see Vatican City behind him, its walls and the dome of St. Peter's Basilica still, visible in the fading light. He checked the tracking device the Pope had given him. It displayed a pulsing blue dot, moving slowly across what appeared to be a map of Rome. Alice Sullivan, the New York Times journalist, was apparently at a cafe about 2 miles away. Benjamin needed to blend in. His Swiss Guard uniform would attract attention, especially with the security alert in place. He removed his jacket and turned it inside out, hiding the distinctive colors. It wasn't perfect, but it would have to do. He began walking briskly toward the location on the tracker, staying on busy streets where he could disappear into the crowds of tourists and locals enjoying the evening. Meanwhile, inside the hidden communications room, Pope Leo XIV prepared for his broadcast. He sat before the alien console, his fingers moving across symbols that glowed in response to his touch. The technology felt both foreign and familiar, as if designed specifically for human use. A soft chime indicated that the system was ready. The Pope closed his eyes briefly in prayer, then pressed the central symbol. "People of Earth, this is Pope Leo XIV speaking to you directly. What I am about to tell you will change our understanding of humanity's place in the universe forever." Across Rome, electronic devices suddenly activated. Television screens, computers, phones, and tablets all displayed the same image. The Pope sitting calmly in a blue-lit room, unlike any Vatican chamber the public had ever seen. In the Vatican Security Center, Cardinal Winters stared in shock at the monitors showing the Pope's broadcast appearing on every channel. "Find the source of that signal and shut it down immediately," he ordered his technicians. "We can't, Your Eminence," one replied. "It's not coming through any known broadcast system." It's somehow transmitting directly to individual devices. Winters slammed his fist on the desk. Then send all available security to find the Pope. He must be stopped before he reveals everything. On the streets of Rome, Benjamin saw the Pope's face appear on a large public screen in a plaza. People stopped to watch, puzzled by the unusual broadcast. Benjamin didn't stop. He had to reach Alice Sullivan before Vatican security found him. The tracking device led him to a small cafe near the Spanish Steps. Through the window, he could see a woman in her 40s with short brown hair, working on a laptop. She matched the description the Pope had given him of Alice Sullivan. As Benjamin approached her table, he saw that her laptop was displaying the Pope's broadcast like every other screen in the city. "Alice Sullivan?" he asked quietly. She looked up, surprised. "Yes? Pope Leo XIV sent me to find you." Benjamin sat down across from her. "My name is Benjamin Carter. I'm with the Swiss Guard." Alice studied him with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "You don't look like you're on duty." Benjamin reached into his pocket and carefully placed the metal cylinder on the table. "The Pope said you would know what to do with this." Alice's eyes widened as she recognized the object. "So it's finally happening." She took the cylinder and examined it. "I've been waiting years for this moment." "You know about the messengers?" Benjamin asked, surprised. "I was selected as a secondary contact 10 years ago," Alice explained. "In case something happened to the primary contact, the Pope." Benjamin glanced at the screen of her laptop where Pope Leo was explaining the first contact that had occurred in 1473. "Has something happened to him?" "Not yet," Alice said, her expression grim. "But Cardinal Winters and his faction won't let this broadcast continue if they can help it." On screens across the world, Pope Leo was explaining how the visitors, the messengers, had been guiding humanity subtly for centuries. "They have helped us avoid self-destruction many times," the Pope said. "During the Cold War, when nuclear annihilation seemed certain, during environmental crises that could have made Earth uninhabitable. They believe in our potential to join them as equals in a community of worlds." In the Vatican, Cardinal Winters had located the signal source. "It's coming from an unknown chamber near the old archives," a technician reported. "We've never seen this room on any blueprint. Break through the walls if you have to," Winters ordered. "Just stop that broadcast." In the cafe, Benjamin watched as the Pope continued his message. "The messengers have asked me to tell you that they will reveal themselves to all of humanity. Tonight, they believe we are ready for direct contact." Alice looked at her watch. "It's almost time." She turned to Benjamin. "We should get somewhere with a clear view of the sky." They left the cafe and hurried to the Spanish Steps, which offered an open view of the Roman sky. A crowd had gathered there, everyone watching the Pope's broadcast on their phones. "What's going to happen?" Benjamin asked. "The final proof," Alice replied. "The one thing that will make denial impossible." On screens worldwide, Pope Leo raised his hands. "Do not be afraid. They come in peace, seeking friendship. Look to the skies, people of Earth. Our long isolation in the universe ends tonight." At Mayais, that moment, the security team in the Vatican broke through the wall into the hidden communications room. Cardinal Winters pushed his way through, pointing at the Pope. "Stop this broadcast immediately." Pope Leo turned to face him, calm and unafraid. "It's too late, Richard. Look outside." In the night sky above Rome, points of light appeared, not stars, but objects moving in perfect geometric patterns. Similar lights appeared in skies all over the world, over New York, Tokyo, London, Moscow, Beijing, and every major city. The objects began to glow brighter, casting soft blue light down on Earth. They were massive, yet moved with impossible grace. There was no denying what they were: spacecraft not made by human hands. On the Spanish Steps, Benjamin and Alice looked up in wonder, along with thousands of others. The cylinder in Alice's hand began to glow with the same blue light as the ships above. "They're here," she whispered. In the Vatican communications room, Cardinal Winters stared at the Pope in shock. "What have you done?" "I've helped humanity take its next step," Pope Leo replied. "As I was chosen to do." A brilliant beam of light suddenly filled the room, causing the security team to step back in fear. Within the light, figures began to form. Tall, luminous beings with vaguely humanoid shapes but clearly not human. "We have watched and waited," one of the beings communicated, though no sound was heard. Everyone present understood the words in their minds.
"Through your art, your music, your faith, and your science, we have seen the divine spark grow within you. Some of you have always known we were here, guiding gently when needed. But the time for secrets has passed." Similar scenes played out
Across the globe as the messengers appeared simultaneously in every major city, at religious sites, government buildings, and public gatherings. Their message was consistent everywhere. Humanity had reached a crucial point in its development. We could join a community of sentient beings that spanned the galaxy, but only if we could overcome our divisions. In Rome, Benjamin watched as a being of light descended toward the crowd at the Spanish Steps. People backed away in awe and fear, but Benjamin stepped forward, drawn by a strange sense of recognition. "Benjamin Carter," the being communicated, "you have helped fulfill a plan set in motion centuries ago. Your role was small, but essential." "Who are you?" Benjamin asked. "We have been called many things by many cultures," the being replied. "Angels, gods, visitors. We are simply older siblings to humanity, hoping to welcome you into a larger family." As the night continued, the visitors shared their knowledge and presence with a stunned Earth. Wars paused, conflicts were forgotten, as humanity collectively experienced the most significant moment in its history. The next morning, Pope Leo XIV addressed the world from St. Peter's Square, surrounded by both Swiss guards and the luminous visitors. Benjamin stood at his right hand as the Pope explained that all great faiths had glimpsed aspects of the cosmic truth, and science had been building a bridge to understanding we were not alone. "We stand at the threshold of a new age," Leo proclaimed, to billions watching worldwide. "Not as God's only children, but as one family among many in a universe more wondrous and divine than our ancestors could have imagined." Cardinal Winters and the Council of 12 were given the choice to join this new understanding or step aside. Most chose to embrace the new reality, recognizing that faith and cosmic truth could exist together. For Benjamin Carter, once a simple Swiss guard, life changed completely. He was appointed as the first human liaison to the galactic community, a role for which the messengers revealed he had been prepared his entire life without knowing it. As Earth began its transformation, Benjamin sometimes thought back to that hidden chamber where his journey began, and wondered what other secrets might still lie beneath the Vatican, waiting for humanity to be ready to learn them.